Yeah, we're probably gonna make this a little quick, but
That's fine.
we have the big idea. Say when.
When?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PIXAR Panic, the final results. I am Wesley Hunt, the host with the most, Amazon worker by day, just about everything else by night. And I'm joined by my usual crew.
Hello, everybody. I am Irish Husky. I am the original founder of Mouse Madness. I am an actuary by day, a everything else by night, and I am the group's resident statistician.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carrick, Raccoon Bro, and Nabnet. I am the resident voice actor as well as a YouTuber. I recently put out that really big Tom and Jerry review on my channel, so please check it out. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that one, I assure you.
It's really
link in the doobly doo.
I think we should like pin that at the podcast.
Yeah, link in the doobly doo.
I think we should make that the pin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
hello everyone, I'm Yo Jadson, aka Jadson Lennox. I am a writer and reviewer of animation, and I also want to be a voice actor. I can do the likes of Heifer from Roger's Modern Life and Droopy Dog. I'm happy to be here.
They make a we live in a society joke with Droopy in the Tom and Jerry film.
I love that movie. Love that scene. The movie's crap though.
Right. But due to extenuating circumstances and a few delays, we're coming at you a little later this time. We're going to still do a top 5 Pixar movies, but that'll be next week. This week, we're going to wrap up the tournament by giving you the little result. We'll do the third place first to build some semblance of suspense. In third place, with a final score of 78-62, Ratatouille beats Monsters, Inc.
Wow, that was very, very close.
Man.
And Carrick, I was going to address one of your gripes with the one-word titles. Certain exceptions that have been noted are if a film is a character's name, like Wall-E, or if it's something super specific, like Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Or like some like Aladdin or Soul.
No, I get
It's
that.
a little too ambiguous.
Yeah.
I just no, there are of course there are obviously exceptions. I do agree that I'm just glad that that one Sony film that got announced, the Mitchells versus the Machines, like it almost had a super generic title being called Connected. I'm very glad that got changed.
Oh yeah.
T-Mobile. That's
Connected.
what I thought every time I read it. That's what I thought every time. Connected by T-Mobile.
Because it says nothing about the movie, but Mitchells versus the Machines has way more personality.
Yeah.
At least Ratatouille makes sense in context because it's not only a pun, it's a plot point.
Yeah.
But let's reveal final.
I just also want to point out that this is the second time that my favorite movie won third place in the tournament.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because you had Aladdin.
Mouse Madness.
So, You know what?
Yeah.
I'll take it. Not bad, honestly.
Right. But in first place, we had a culmination of Twitter straw poll and 2 write-in votes I got from my family. By a final score of 111-100, The Incredibles defeats Wall-E.
Wow.
I gotta say, I wasn't entirely sure who would win, so I can't say I'm surprised since it could have gone either way.
Can I just say, you go on first.
Oh, Wes just muted, so is Wes talking right now, or?
Yes, I am.
Oh, try again.
You can go.
Oh, can I just have a moment to say this? Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Syndrome is such a ham.
What if
Yeah.
what if a cop was trying to save Syndrome, or no, what if Syndrome was at the bank and getting his money, and then some robbers came in and they were like, "Everyone get down, Syndrome."
Oh god.
They just
Oh,
get down on the ground.
Oh man.
I get it now.
that is spicy.
Anyway,
But
moving on.
yeah, Syndrome will get to face the Emperor's New Groove in the ongoing Super Cup.
I gotta say, Emperor's New Groove versus The Incredibles is not a matchup I think anyone expected, but it's
No, I think it's a bit more fair comparison than Wally, but still pretty kind of odd.
Personally,
We'll discuss the Super Cup.
For whatever reason, I think like the most
Yeah,
fitting. I think the most fitting film for Emperor's New Groove to go up against would probably be Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Only because
No, I
of them were
agree.
Factories.
Yeah, and both were underdogs. So,
I'm honestly surprised that Monsters Inc. didn't make it to the finals.
Yeah, like
Right.
Monsters Inc. was like the last PIXAR film that I personally would name 10 out of 10. It's that good. That got knocked out.
Monsters Inc. blew Inside Out of the water. I thought it would have stood a bit more of a chance against Wall-E.
Yeah.
we'll discuss our picks for the Super Cup a little later, but before we do that, Stat Boy, give us some stat analysis.
All right. So, as I said in my intro, I am the resident statistician. I did a whole long video going over some stats for Mouse Madness at the end of that tournament. I'm not going to go as in-depth this time around because we've got a schedule to keep. But I'll just go over some interesting findings and superlatives that I found out throughout this tournament. So, starting with the most total votes throughout the entire tournament, with 625, was Wall-E. Yes, the movie that lost in the finals actually had more votes overall than the film that it beat. In fact, The Incredibles comes in...
But I'm not salty about...
Yeah. So,
I'm not salty about Wall-E losing because it scored 100 points every round and it lost in the grand final. No shame in that. But what were you going to say about The Incredibles?
The Incredibles actually comes in third with total votes with 509. Wall-E had 625, and second place was actually Ratatouille with 518.
Yeah, boy.
So the fact
And Ratatouille also lost to The Incredibles.
That's true. So the fact that the grand champion only had the most amount of votes was kind of surprising to me until I realized that in the case of Wall-E, pretty much all of its victories were blowouts. I don't think it won by any less than 20 votes in any round, with the exception of the finals. It had 193 votes in the first round and 191 in the second round, so those are going to massively inflate the total overall. Whereas The Incredibles, a lot closer matches, especially as we got into the Final Four, which is why the total vote count is lower than Ratatouille, but it was higher in the round they faced off, so that's why Ratatouille was relegated to third.
Yeah, that second round was that semifinal round was a huge nail biter. I was glad I stuck around for that.
Margin of 4 votes. Don't forget.
I don't mind Ratatouille losing to... I don't mind one of Brad Bird's greatest films losing to Brad Bird's other great film.
Yeah. All right. So even though Wall-E had the most total votes, it had the second most votes on average across the rounds that it competed in, with 156 and a quarter per round. The film that had the most votes per round was Toy Story 1 with 160.5, and that's largely in part due to its first round against Finding Dory, in which it scored a record 232 votes alone.
Yeah, the 232, that was nothing else even came close. That was just one-sided.
Yeah. I mean, just based on that, I expected Toy Story to make it a lot further than it did. But, what are you going to do?
And all the Toy Story films got knocked out really quickly.
And Toy Story itself got knocked out by The Incredibles.
I don't even think the first Toy Story is like that good compared to the other Toy Story films, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I have it tied as my favorite with 2, but that might just
Me
be
too.
nostalgic reasons. I mean, I can.
Me too.
Right.
Me too. Get it? Me too.
Because I rewatched it and I forgot how much of a jerk Woody is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What did you see Woody in like the Black
No,
Friday reel?
I've seen like what it could have been. Like he could have been a lot worse, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason I like the first one a little more than the second is just because it had a bit more bite to it. If you know what I mean.
yeah, I will say it's hilarious.
It's a lot harsher in the comedy, and I think that makes it funnier.
I think I like the second one more, most because like it has, while the first one had focus on the other characters, this one has a little bit more focus. Like the other toys are going on the journey with Buzz. Then we also have a lot more comedy and character with them as they interact with all the other stuff. But, like it felt like a nice, great adventure film with a lot of great comedy in it too.
Exactly.
Right.
All right, so the last stat that I want to go over is the scoring. Now, you may recall with Mouse Madness, I had a system on how I ranked the relative performance of all the movies in the tournament. Basically, you start from where they began if it wins, it loses. And then once it loses, you follow the film that beat it until that movie loses, and so on. So obviously, the highest ranking film is going to be the one that won every round, in this case, The Incredibles. And just for shits and giggles, the film that had the worst performance, where if you start in the prelims and it loses and you see losses at every step along the way, funnily enough, the result is actually the same thing if you judge performance based on total votes. Because not only did this have the worst relative performance, it just had a terrible performance all around. So the worst performing film in Pixar Panic was The Good Dinosaur. Because
not surprised.
If you recall, it lost to Toy Story 4 in the first round, or the preliminary round, I should say. In round 1, Toy Story 4 lost to Inside Out. In round 2, Inside Out lost to Monsters, Inc. And in the final 4, Monsters, Inc. lost to WALL-E, and was therefore relegated to the battle for third, which it lost to Ratatouille. And just from a numbers standpoint, The Good Dinosaur only received 3 total votes in its blowout against Toy Story 4.
I'm still trying to debate with myself if I like Good Dinosaur or Cars 2 more. It's starting to become a bit more debatable for me.
Yeah, but I mean, I think no tears were shed when Good Dinosaur was knocked out early.
Yeah. One last thing that I want to talk about, and that is the difference in their scoring rank versus their starting rank. So, for example, like The Incredibles finished as the number 1 film, even though it was ranked at number 7 at the beginning. So it had a positive difference of 6 spots. Now, the film that had the greatest positive difference compared to where it started was Monsters, Inc. This was the big underdog, ranked as a 13 seed, and it ended up finishing 4th overall for a differential of 9. On the other hand, the lowest rank differential from where it started was Toy Story 3, which began as the 4 seed and ended up finishing 12th overall, largely because it lost to Monsters, Inc.
Right. That was a pretty incredible game, though, and kind of a trendsetter for things to come.
True. I thought Monsters, Inc. was going to be the Emperor's New Groove of this tournament. It kind of was.
It was almost there.
4th place is nothing to sneeze at.
Fun comparison between the two tournaments. For both Mouse Madness and Pixar Panic, the grand champion was the one that ended up unseating the overall number 1.
Right.
How about that?
But yeah, Emperor's New Groove, though, beat 3 of the 4 ones.
That's true.
yeah, I think it might be a bit more impressive in the former's case, since the gap of ranking is so much wider.
True.
And it's like with The Incredibles, it's widely regarded as one of the best Pixar films ever made for good reason. But people don't talk about The Emperor's New Groove in the same vein as much.
Yeah. Not to mention
Curiously, in the real March Madness, only.
Not to mention that Incredibles knocked out the number 1 seed at literally the last second.
Right. Although in the real March Madness, one team has knocked off 3 of the 4 1 seeds, and that was 97 Arizona Wildcat. Look it up.
Dang.
Did they win the whole tournament?
Yeah. They had to. It's mathematically they had to beat the 3-1 seeds.
Yeah, because the 1 seed in its own class, then the 1 seed in the semifinal, and then a 1 seed in the finals. Math.
Yeah. Right. When I first did the sports stats as one of my early jobs, I did it taking stats for basketball. It was pretty cool and hard to keep up with, but the people there are just as big nerds as any other sports stat. So it's very interesting. But I think that covers most of the...
That basketball sports nerds are bigger nerds than baseball stats keepers.
They're up there, but they're not that nerdy, you're right. But it was still fun just keeping the stats and learning the program. But overall, this was a fun tournament, and I was really glad to see it. But we're not done yet, because it only feels right to have the 2 champions square off. They're both Disney, after all. So why not have the grand comparison?
This will truly decide which studio has the best gold to offer.
Cusco versus Frozone, Llama versus Super, Emperor versus Incredible.
Emperor versus government official.
Right.
Yeah, this is all great now, but I'm sorry, I have to bring this up here. But what does any of this have to do with Mr. Skipperdo?
I don't know.
I don't know. We covered him in the shorts, but that was pretty fun. Again, though, this is kind of weird because while both have humorous elements, Incredibles does veer more on the side of serious. I think I ended up voting for Incredibles simply because I have more fond memories with it. I don't think I appreciated... I did appreciate Incredibles a little later, but I think I appreciate Emperor's New Groove even later than that.
Me, I'm probably... I have to go with Emperor's New Groove. Like at this point, it's come so far. I'm basically ride or die with it now, and it's just it's seeing its journey and like eventually realizing after because I hadn't seen this movie as a kid, and I think it's crazy that I haven't, because I know I really would have liked it if I had. But now
I saw it as a kid once, liked it fine enough, but then when I saw it out of high school, I was dying of laughter.
Yeah,
it's just
I
complete
clips out of context before Mouse Madness, but I hadn't seen the whole thing until I started the initial bracket, and rewatching it again for the finals discussion, yeah, it still holds up as an incredible comedy.
It's just like complete retroactive love when it comes to how I feel about that movie.
Yeah. But we can add another chapter to its legacy with the Super Cup.
Right. Hey, I don't know if my math is right here, but I think if we inserted the Incredibles into Mouse Madness, it would have been a number 1 seed. Like a low number 1, but a number 1 regardless.
Yeah.
So this gives Emperor's New Groove another chance to knock off a hypothetical number 1.
Dethrone.
Nobody
Yeah.
dethrones the Emperor.
Best,
Me with Carrick, I also have to go with the Emperor's New Groove on this one.
yeah, I had a feeling.
Like, I really like The Incredibles, but The Emperor's New Groove, that's a film that just gets better and better and funnier as I go older. I have to vote for that movie.
Yeah, I think I'd have to
And
go with Incredibles right now, just because that's the one that's been on my mind for the last several weeks. I think
Right.
if I
See, by-
rewatched Emperor's New Groove, it could easily flip, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
on
But,
the one hand, Emperor's New Groove has Wendy Malick, but on the other hand, Incredibles has Samuel L. Jackson.
And Wallace
Earl-
Shawn.
Three iconic
Wallace Shawn.
moments. And Wally Shawn, yeah.
So it's it's a tough choice. And also Piglet for 2 scenes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Emperor's
Sorry.
Groove. Right. Dad was trying to insist that it was another guy who voiced Syndrome, but then was like, "No, it's Earl, Dad. You listen, it's Earl."
That's fun to think about. My name is
It
Earl.
was a sick.
Okay.
Yeah, he was also a Bigfoot from We Bear Bears.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he's fun in that. He's fun in that show too.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like, I haven't heard. Yep, like I haven't heard from him in a while, but then I saw he was in We Bear Bears. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Wasn't he also in that one Stephen King film about like the weasels that
Shit weasels.
Yeah, shit weasels?
Yeah, he was in that movie.
Really?
I think he was with. I don't know if it was him or the other guy, but someone said, "We gotta go inside. Scooby Dooby Doo. We got some work to do now." I'm like,
What?
yeah. They just quoted like a cartoon, like trying to sound edgy. I was like, Ned should tell me, say, "Hey, come on, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?" Or come on, Odd Parents, Fairly Odd Parents. Like,
Yeah, I know he does die to a weasel attacking him while he's on the toilet.
Oh dear. Isn't
He's
that
a-
rats?
Hmm?
Isn't that rats who attack you through the toilet?
Yeah, there you go. There's
I
another
guess that wouldn't.
connection.
like he's being attacked for the toll, and we hear, "Whoa, we are the crystal gems."
Oh god.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It sounds cool, right?
Oh god. Recontextualizing kids cartoons for like edgy tough guy badness. I'm just thinking of like a dark and gritty Ed and Eddie, and in the trailer you hear the faint whistling from the theme song, but like slowed down to try and sound threatening.
and then at the end, as soon as we get that big title reveal, after we're all serious, we then hear.
Well, Brandon, for those who don't know, Brandon Yates, he is a musician, and he's known for doing music for Death Battle, and recently he's been doing commissions for fans where he will do a musical score for any matchup idea, and he did one for the Ed and Eddie versus the Warner siblings, and so like it takes like the theme songs of both of the shows, and it sounds way more epic than it has any right to. So it's like dun 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 dun. You just like, and you hear xylophone in the background. It's crazy.
That sounds cool.
Oh, I gotta check that out sometime.
That is
That
pretty
sounds
cool.
amazing.
But yeah, that is pretty neat. But it's pretty neat to hear all these. And once again, we seem to be split down the middle for the Super Cup. So no matter what wins, it's going to be a heck of a watch and kind of a miracle we were able to complete not one but 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it comes down to you folks at home. What is
Right.
Disney's magnum opus?
This
Mhm.
Yeah.
tournament was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And also
Get out of here.
But also, we're kind of coming full circle because we did this to fill the void when March Madness was canceled, and we're going to finish up on Selection Sunday on the eve of a new March Madness. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
That's right.
It's just it is quite beautiful with coming all the way back to it.
And,
It feels like we've come a long way in this last year.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, what started out as
We'll probably
just
try-
some silly little thing to get people's minds off the pandemic has now turned into something far beyond the scope I could have imagined.
And now that a vaccine is finally starting to be distributed, we can start doing this as instead of as a outlet for escapism, we can start doing it because we want to.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what future podcasts might hold, but I'll be really glad to be on the ride with you guys.
Yep.
Me too.
One last thing before we go. Speaking of the actual March Madness, go Illini.
Excuse me?
They're supposed to
You
be
did-
number one seed
But you
this
went to
year.
but you went to Notre Dame. So
I did go to Notre Dame, but I'm not even sure they're going to be in the tournament. And if they
Right.
are, they're
Well,
not
my
guaranteed
school
to go.
went to Final Four. Yeah, well, my school went to Final Four once and never again, so I'm pretty content with where I am.
Yeah, my freshman year, Notre Dame made it to the Elite Eight and missed a buzzer beater shot that would have sent them to the Final Four.
Oof.
Yeah, but I'm rooting for Illini because I'm from Illinois. My brother was the head of their drum line last year. So,
Hate to see it happen.
yeah, we've been
Right.
to quite a few Illinois football games because of that, and now I'm basically rooting for them in place of the Irish.
Right. I'll probably stick with UVA because I've been to Charlottesville multiple times. They were one of my first choices,
Yeah.
but the budget kind of constrained me, so go Who's.
Go who?
Who's?
The
Yeah,
the
who?
Wahoos.
Yeah, who? Wahoo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You,
Right.
that's who.
No, I mean that. Yeah, Wahoo. That's what I'm asking you.
Yahoo.
Yahoo. Yeah, Yahoo. What is it?
It's their
It's you.
chant. Right.
It's always been you all along.
Is this the Who's on First thing?
It's been
Yeah.
It's been you all along. Points a gun at your head.
Yeah.
Always.
You never realized it, but it's all this time. You've had the power inside of you.
Power
Right.
within.
The power within. The power within. Yeah.
Yeah. That
All
was
right, but that's a good-
beautiful.
Oh God.
Yep. But yeah, tune in next time where we will give our top 5 PIXAR movies, same as last time, and reveal the Super Cup champion.
Yeah. For my top 5, number 1 will not shock you.